Hello guys, welcome to another Scary Radio video. Please subscribe first. That will help my channel to get discovered by new visitors. Thank you, and enjoy listening. The small town of Waverly was nestled deep in the heart of the Virginia mountains. It was a quiet place, with rows of quaint cottages and a single general store. The townsfolk were friendly but guarded, always keeping their secrets close. One day, a new family moved to Waverly. The Carters were a strange bunch, with pale skin and sunken eyes. They kept to themselves, rarely venturing out of their rundown cabin on the edge of town. Rumors began to swirl about the Carters. Some said they were witches, casting spells in the woods at night. Others claimed they were vampires, feasting on the blood of their neighbors. But the truth was even more horrifying than anyone could have imagined. Late one night, a group of teenagers snuck into the woods to spy on Carters. They peered through the cabin window, and what they saw made their blood run cold. The Carters were performing a dark ritual, using the blood of a young girl to summon a demon from the depths of hell. The teenagers watched in horror as the demon emerged, its skin as black as coal and its eyes glowing like fire. The demon turned its gaze on the teenagers, and they knew they had to run. They fled back to town, but the demon was close on their heels. It hunted them through the streets, tearing them apart one by one. The townsfolk awoke to screams and the stench of blood. They huddled in their homes, praying that the demon would pass them by. But it didn't. It tore through the town like a hurricane, leaving nothing but destruction in its wake. The Carters were nowhere to be found, but their cabin still stood. It was surrounded by a wall of flames, and the townsfolk could hear the sounds of screams coming from inside. They knew that the Carters had summoned the demon, and that they had paid the ultimate price. In the end, Waverly was left in ruins. The few survivors scattered to the winds, never to speak of the demon or the Carters again. But some say that if you listen closely on a quiet night, you can still hear the whispers of the demon calling out for new victims to claim. In the small town of Briarwood, Virginia, there was a house that had been abandoned for years. It was an old Victorian mansion with creaky wooden floors and peeling wallpaper. The locals whispered that it was cursed, that the spirits of the former owners still lingered within its walls. One day, a family moved into the house. The parents, John and Sarah, had 2 young children, a boy and a girl. They brushed off the rumors of the house being haunted, thinking that the townsfolk were just superstitious. But from the moment they stepped inside, strange things began to happen. Doors slammed shut on their own, cold spots appeared in the middle of warm rooms, and the children complained of hearing whispers coming from the walls. John and Sarah tried to ignore the strange occurrences, but they couldn't deny that something was off about the house. They decided to hire a team of paranormal investigators to come and investigate. The team arrived with all of their equipment, including cameras, EVP recorders, and EMF detectors. They began to conduct their investigation, asking questions and listening for responses. At first, there was nothing, but as the night wore on, they began to pick up strange noises on their equipment. The EMF detector went wild in the master bedroom, and the EVP recorder picked up the sound of a woman crying. Suddenly, the team leader let out a blood-curdling scream. He had seen something in the corner of his eye, something that he couldn't explain. The team scrambled to pack up their equipment, but it was too late. The spirits of the former owners had been awakened, and they were angry. They began to haunt the family, terrorizing them day and night. The children refused to sleep in their own beds, and John and Sarah were constantly on edge. One night, the family was awoken by the sound of footsteps coming from the attic. They crept up the stairs, their hearts pounding in their chests. As they opened the attic door, they saw a figure standing in the corner. It was the ghost of the former owner, a woman named Elizabeth. She was clutching a small, tattered book in her hands. As the family watched in horror, Elizabeth began to recite passages from the book, her voice growing louder and more sinister with each passing moment. Suddenly, the house began to shake. The walls cracked and the floorboards splintered. John and Sarah grabbed their children and ran for the front door, but it was too late. The house collapsed around them, burying them in a pile of rubble. The townsfolk of Briarwood never spoke of the cursed mansion again. They erected a fence around the property, warning people to stay away. but some say that if you listen closely on a quiet night, you can still hear the whispers of the spirits calling out for new victims to claim. The town of Blackwater, Virginia, was known for its eerie mist that blanketed the town at night. It was said that the mist was so thick you could barely see your own hand in front of your face, but the townsfolk had grown used to it, and they went about their lives as if nothing was out of the ordinary. But one summer, the mist began to change. It became thicker, almost alive. It crept into people's homes, seeping through the cracks in the windows and doors. The townsfolk began to feel uneasy, as if something was watching them from within the mist. One night, a group of teenagers decided to venture into the mist to see what was causing it. They walked deeper and deeper into the mist until they could barely see each other's faces. Suddenly, they heard a sound. It was a low growl, deep and menacing. They turned to run, but it was too late. The mist had enveloped them, trapping them in its cold embrace. They screamed for help, but no one came. Days turned into weeks, and the townsfolk began to panic. More and more people went missing, swallowed up by the mist. The town was in chaos, with people barricading themselves in their homes and praying for the mist to go away. One night, a group of survivors banded together to try and find a way to escape the mist. They stumbled upon an old abandoned mansion, nestled deep in the woods. It was covered in ivy and cobwebs, but it was their only hope. As they entered the mansion, they found themselves in a dark, twisting labyrinth. The walls seemed to shift and change, as if they were alive. They heard the growl again, and this time it was closer. They turned a corner and saw it. It was a creature made of mist, with glowing red eyes and sharp, jagged teeth. It lunged at them, and they ran for their lives. They reached the end of the labyrinth and found a room with an old, ornate mirror. They looked into the mirror, and what they saw made their blood run cold. The creature was right behind them, its misty tendrils reaching out to grab them. They shattered the mirror, hoping it would break the curse. But it was too late. The mist had consumed them, and they were never seen again. The town of Blackwater was never the same after that. The mist remained thicker and more menacing than ever. Some say that if you venture into the mist on a quiet night, you can still hear the screams of those who were swallowed up by its cold embrace.